Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something absolutely fascinating, but honestly pretty sobering. We're mapping out the theoretical pathways, the massive economic stakes, and the technological risks of a potential global conflict in 2026, based entirely on our source analysis. We're looking at a geopolitical environment right now that analysts are literally comparing to the pre-conflict alignment phase of 1937 to 1939. This isn't just about isolated regional tensions anymore, you know? It's about overlapping crises that are so deeply linked through military, technological, and economic exchanges. We're going to unpack exactly how a localized spark could ignite a worldwide conflagration.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the triggers of global war, move into the global coalitions, take a hard look at the empty arsenal, explore the Silicon Shield, and finally, discuss the most critical piece, accidental nuclear escalation.
Section 1. Triggers of Global War. Outbreak Mechanics.
So, according to the source analysis, the transition from localized instability to a third world war isn't going to be some slow burn. It's projected to happen within a remarkably narrow 72-hour window once certain triggers are pulled. Just look at how fast this February 2026 Middle East war model overruns all diplomatic off-ramps in under a week. On day 1, starting February 28th, the conflict dramatically expands as Iran launches ballistic missiles targeting 9 different countries. By day 3, Hezbollah jumps in. And by day 6, we're looking at 14 nations fully embroiled, with NATO air defenses activating in Turkey. It just goes to show how incredibly fast exponential escalation moves.
Now, here's the crucial point. When these two types of escalation, horizontal and vertical, happen at the exact same time, they create this relentless feedback loop of retaliation that just forcibly drags great powers into the mix. Horizontal escalation is what we just talked about, right? The geographic spread to 14 nations. But vertical escalation is equally, if not more, dangerous. In the scenario, vertical escalation kicks in when targets expand to civilian transport hubs in places like Dubai and Doha, or when the highly strategic Strait of Hormuz is closed off. And as a retaliatory vertical escalation, the US targets Karg Island, which is Iran's primary oil export terminal. This compounding mix of expanding the map and simultaneously expanding the severity of the targets leaves diplomats with absolutely no time to hit the brakes.
Moving right along to Section 2, the global coalitions. Who joins which side?
What's really striking here is the stark contrast between the treaty-bound Western coalition and what's called the revisionist Axis. The Axis completely lacks a mutual defense pact. They operate purely on self-interested transactions. The Western Allied bloc is anchored by formal ironclad treaties like NATO and the AUKUS Security Pact. It's built on coordinated defense strategies meant to deter attacks by just making them way too costly for an adversary. But the transactional axis, that's China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, they aren't a traditional alliance. They're actually plagued by deep historical distrust. For instance, Iran is still super suspicious of Russia because of territorial losses back in the 19th century. Plus, they have asymmetrical economics, like Iranian oil being sold to China at massive discounts. Beijing remains highly cautious here, prioritizing its own economic ties with the West way over sticking its neck out for secondary partners.
This quote hits the nail on the head regarding the stance of the Global South. Nations like India and Oman are adopting what's called active non-alignment. Basically, they are hedging their bets to protect their own economic survival rather than picking superpower sides. They completely reject binary alignment. For example, during regional conflicts, the Gulf Cooperation Council states might allow defensive operations from their bases, sure, but they absolutely refuse to join offensive coalitions. India might bypass Western naval forces entirely and just use direct talks with Tehran to secure its own shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. At the end of the day, they are prioritizing their own domestic economic development, even when this neutrality puts them under intense diplomatic pressure.
Section 3. The Empty Arsenal. Vulnerabilities and Constraints.
Okay, so while war games show long-range anti-ship missiles being completely depleted within just the first week of a Taiwan conflict, the reality of replacing them is a massive wake-up call. It takes 2 to 4 years just to manufacture replacements. The source analysis points out that operations against Iran and various regional interventions have already severely depleted U.S. stockpiles of long-range offensive munitions and defensive interceptors. I mean, an SM-3 IIA missile takes over 4 years to produce. THAADs and Tomahawks? 3 years. And it's not like you can just throw money at the problem. Expanding factory floors, navigating complex environmental regulations to boost output, all of that adds an entirely separate 18 to 24 months to these timelines. This jaw-dropping $32 billion number represents the current foreign military sales backlog to Taiwan. It proves just how much industrial bottlenecks are a major multi-theater constraint right now. Because the manufacturing base is stretched to its absolute breaking point, critical defensive hardware, we're talking about things like Harpoon coastal defense systems and advanced surface-to-air missiles, are simply sitting undelivered. Think about it. If a global war kicks off across multiple theaters simultaneously, this industrial overstretch suddenly becomes a life-or-death vulnerability, radically increasing the risk of conventional defeat.
And to compound that munition shortage, U.S. forward operating bases suffer from some really severe infrastructure vulnerabilities, making them sitting ducks for systematic long-range precision strikes. While militaries are actively trying to disperse their forces to more austere, spread-out locations, their assets still remain highly concentrated in what logisticians call Iron Mountains. These massive hubs literally lack basic reinforced bunkers and hardened fuel bladders. Furthermore, the source notes that during initial conflicts, critical forward-deployed assets like the AN/TPY-2 radars, which are absolutely essential for THAAD operations, suffer severe damage. With only 8 THAAD batteries operating globally, losing these radars creates massive, dangerous blind spots in air defense networks. Let's dive into Section 4, the Silicon Shield, macroeconomic collapse.
So, Taiwan essentially acts as a silicon shield for the global economy. As you can see, controlling 92% of advanced logic chips means a conflict there instantly halts the production of your smartphones, your cars, and even critical healthcare infrastructure. Taiwan is the ultimate geopolitical bottleneck. Now, major economies, the US, Europe, Japan, are pouring tens of billions of dollars into subsidizing the reshoring of chip manufacturing. But here's the catch. Building just one leading-edge fabrication facility takes 3 to 4 years. Reshoring simply cannot protect the global tech supply chain in the short term. A war here literally freezes global technological development for years.
When we compare the quantitative models, even just a blockade is catastrophic. But a full-scale kinetic war? That wipes out $10 trillion. That is nearly double the global output lost during the entire 2008 financial crisis. Let's look closely at these two models from the source. A naval blockade alone cost the global economy $2.7 trillion. It devastates Taiwan's economy, shrinking it by 40%, and even shrinks China's by 7% because, well, they rely on Taiwanese microchips too. But a full-scale war permanently destroys those advanced chip fabs. We are talking about a massive 9.6% drop in global GDP. And to add to that economic pain, a global conflict would likely shut down the Strait of Hormuz, totally disrupting the transit of 25% of the world's petroleum and causing a massive global energy shortage.
Finally, Section 5, accidental nuclear escalation, the ultimate risk.
This is where things get truly terrifying. Because modern conventional and nuclear command networks are now so deeply entangled, we no longer climb a predictable ladder of conflict. Instead, we're trapped in a volatile loop of accidental escalation. For decades, strategists relied on Herman Kahn's 44-rung escalation ladder, right? The assumption was that crises move predictably, with everyone understanding the thresholds. But today, communication satellites and early warning radars are dual use. They serve both conventional forces and strategic nuclear forces. So, a tactical, non-kinetic attack on a conventional network can instantly bleed right into nuclear command and control, collapsing that old ladder into an unpredictable, high-speed loop. Technical experts have identified these 3 specific cyber mechanisms where a non-kinetic digital attack could easily be misinterpreted by a nation as a preemptive strike, practically forcing them to launch their nuclear arsenal. First off, sophisticated cyber espionage that's just designed to monitor forces can look exactly like the preparation for a devastating cyber attack, causing the target to panic and prepare a retaliatory strike. Second, if a nuclear-armed state sees anomalies or intrusions in their networks, they face incredible use-it-or-lose-it pressures. Fearing their deterrent is about to be disabled, they might launch preemptively. And third, strategic policies explicitly state now that a non-nuclear cyber attack on critical nuclear assets could warrant a nuclear response. Now combine that dangerous cyber entanglement with the destruction of early warning satellites, and national leaders are left completely blind. This drastically increases the risk of a miscalculated nuclear launch. A global conflict today would immediately expand into orbital space. Nations are going to use anti-satellite or ASAT weapons to take out their opponents' space-based networks. But if early warning satellites, the exact tools used to detect incoming ballistic missiles, are degraded, national leadership is plunged into severe situational blindness.
In the absolute chaos of war, without clear data, leaders would struggle to differentiate between a localized conventional strike and a massive nuclear launch against them.
Ultimately, this explainer leaves us with a provocative, sobering thought. Has our highly interconnected world actually made us less safe? And what must be done to untangle this dangerous web? We've seen how artificial the division between regional theaters has become, how incredibly fragile our industrial and technological supply chains really are, and most alarmingly, how the integration of digital networks has created this highly volatile path to inadvertent escalation. The analysis strongly suggests that to prevent an accidental strategic escalation, major powers have got to establish clear, resilient separations between their conventional and nuclear command networks. It's a fascinating, if terrifying look at the mechanics of modern geopolitics, and it certainly leaves us with a whole lot to consider regarding the future of global stability. Thanks for exploring this scenario with us.